Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo. Thank you, Prabhu. Continuing with Bhagavad-gita as it is, chapter 11, text 4. Chapter 11, text 2. We'll read the Sanskrit together and the translations together. Bhavap. This is on page 522 in the temple room. Bhavapyayo hi bhutanam Shruto vitarasho maya Tata kamala patraksha Mahatmayam apichavyayam. Translation. O Lotus-eyed One, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, as realized through your inexhaustible glories. Text 3. Evam etad yatat tattvam atmananam param shava Vishrum ichyami te rupam Aishvaryam Purushottama. Translation. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see here before me your actual position, yet I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Text 4. Manyase yadi chakyam maya drastumiti prabhavo Yogeshwara tato me tvam darshayayatmanam avyam. Translation. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that universal self. Text 5. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Pashya me Partha Rupani Shatasota Sahasrasya Nana Vidhani Divyani Nana Varna Kritini Cha. The Blessed Lord said, My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, behold now my opulences, hundreds and thousands of very divine forms, multicolored like the sea. Text 6. Pashya dittan vashun rudran Ashvino murtaryastata Bahunya drishya purvani Pasyaschayani bharata. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Rudras, and all the demigods. Behold the many things which no one has ever seen or heard before. Text 7. Ahit kastam jagat krishnam pasyadya sacharacharam mama dehi gudakesha yakchin yadrastrumichyasi. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here completely. Text 8. Natu mam shakshyase drashtum ane naiva chakchakshuka divyam dadami te chakshu pashya me yogamaishvaram. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give to you divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulence. Text 9. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshvaro harihi darshayam ashrapartaya paramam rupamaishvaram. Sanjaya said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme, the Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Text 11, 10 and 11. Aneka vaktra nayanam, aneka bhuta darshanam, aneka divya bharanam, Divya Nekodaya Yutam, Divya Malayam Baram, Divya Ganur Napulipam, Sarvaschayamam Devam, Anantam Vishvato Mukam. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths and unlimited eyes, and it was all wondrous. The form was decorated with divine dazzling ornaments and arrayed in many garbs. He was garlanded gorgeous, and there were many scents smeared over his body. All was magnificent, all expanding, unlimited. This was seen by Arjuna. And lastly, text 12. Devi Shurya Saharasya Bhava Yuga Patar Uta Yada Baha Shrishti Shadyad Bhashastasya Mahatmanaha. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once into the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. Back to text 2. Om Jnana. Oh, we have to do the prayers. We can't forget about those. Those are very important. Om Jnana Tirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Behevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you everyone for being here this evening. We'll resume translation and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This is chapter 11, text 2, the Universal Form. O Lotus-eyed One, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity as realized through your inexhaustible glories. Purport. Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna as lotus-eyed. Krishna's eyes appear just like the petals of a lotus flower. Out of his joy, for Krishna has assured him in the last verse of the previous chapter that he sustains the entire universe with just a fragment of himself. He is the source of everything in this material manifestation, and Arjuna has heard of this form, has heard of this from the Lord in detail. Arjuna further knows that in spite of his being the source of all appearances and disappearances, he is aloof from them. His personality is not lost, although he is all-pervading. That is the inconceivable opulence of Krishna, which Arjuna admits that he has thoroughly understood. So that verse that Prabhupada is reading is this text 42, the last verse of the last chapter. But what need is there Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Text 3. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see here before me your actual position, yet I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Purport. The Lord said that because he entered into the material universe by his personal representation, the cosmic manifestation has been made possible and is going on. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he is inspired by the statements of Krishna. But in order to convince others in the future who may think that Krishna is an ordinary person, he desires to see him actually in his universal form. To see how he is acting from within the universe, although he is apart from it, Arjuna's asking the Lord's permission is also significant. Since the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is present within Arjuna himself. Therefore he knows the desires of Arjuna, and he can understand that Arjuna has no special desire to see him in his universal form, for he is completely satisfied to see him in his personal form of Krishna. But he can understand also that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to convince others. He did not have any personal desire for confirmation. Krishna also understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criterion. For in the future, there would be so many impostors who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. The people therefore should be careful. One who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show his universal form to confirm his claim to the people. So Prabhupada is clarifying here for us that Arjuna is asking to see Krishna's universal form, not for his own pleasure or for his own desire, but to indicate for others in the future who may pose as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to give some type of criteria or some kind of challenge to those who pose themselves as God. And we see this many times, especially in India. There's a lot of people this day and age, especially around the time Srila Prabhupada came, people were saying, I am Bhagavan, like anything. It was very, very common for people, different gurus to come here to the West and claim that we're all God, or I am God in particular here to deliver the fallen conditioned souls, that God is under illusion, or he is playing a game of hide and seek so he can carry out different roles in the material manifestation and in this way enjoy different play or lila. This is a pretty big misunderstanding that some of the impersonalists preach. This is incorrect. We should not subscribe to this philosophy. And one thing that comes to mind is these imposters. There is a story about a great king, Pondrika. And Pondrika, he was a king of a very big dynasty, and he was posing as Krishna. This is during the time of Krishna. So, we can take these people to be fools and rascals posing as Krishna when Krishna is not personally here today. But what is to speak of somebody who is posing as Krishna when Krishna is actually present on the planet Earth? So this King Pondrika was fool number one, new rascal number one, posing as Krishna, and we know that Pondrika, he had sent a messenger out. This is when Lord Balaram was absent from Vrindavan, and Lord Krishna was there carrying out his activities as he does here on earth, and King Pondrika, he sent a special messenger with a message for Lord Krishna. And the messenger basically told Krishna that, Sir, you are posing as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are not fooling anyone. The real Personality of Godhead is King Pondrika. He has come to deliver, all of the jiva souls. He is showing mercy upon the living entities. and you need to surrender your false position as God, Krishna. So Krishna was amongst many great sages, amongst this assembly, many great warriors and leaders of the community. And all of these leaders amongst Krishna, what did they do? They started laughing and laughing and laughing. And they went on laughing very loudly. And after this laughing subsided a bit, the messenger, he clarified, you need to give up your 4 symbols of Lord Vishnu, because you're not rightful to have these, since you're not God. So we know that Lord Krishna, he carries a lotus, a disc, a conch, and a club. And so he was telling him, you need to give these up, because you're not God. The only person who can have these 4 things is King Punjaka, the real Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna, after laughing with his associates, he said, very well, he can come and we can battle. We can have a battle over this. And not only am I not going to give up these symbols that I carry, but I'm going to use one of these symbols, the disc, to cut his head off when I defeat him. In this way, Krishna started speaking insults to Punjaka, rascal number 1, imposter, who was posing as Krishna. And he said, after I cut your head off, I will leave it there, and there will be many meat-eating birds who will circle your head, like vultures and other species of large birds. They'll circle around your head, and then after the birds are through with you, the dogs will come and they will devour your body. And this is how you will go. So Krishna, we can see, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. We can see, just like Krishna was not gentle with Punjaka, Srila Prabhupada was not gentle for these imposters who came and claimed to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead or claimed some imposter philosophy. He was very direct with them. He would call them out. This is rascaldom, imposter. This man, he's a hypocrite. He's a bigot. Right? Prabhupada would call them out. Rightfully so. So, we can understand by this purport that Arjuna was a perfect devotee of Lord Krishna. He was a soul surrendered unto him. And why did Krishna impart this knowledge of Bhagavad-gita to him? Because he was a great friend. He was a devotee as well as a friend. And with Arjuna being, such a friend to Krishna, he could understand that, Krishna's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He didn't need to see this form in order to understand this. And he could also understand that in the future there will be many impostors that will come. So he asked for our benefit, will you please show me your universal form? So in this way, these days, whenever somebody says that I am God, or, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am Bhagavan, I am Ishvara, there's so many names that they use, and they actually get vaguer and vaguer. The impersonalists, these names, they get more and more vague because they don't have proper descriptions of God, or they don't believe these proper personal descriptions of God. So, they'll claim, and we can say, okay, I offer you my humble obeisances. Now please show me your universal form. If this person is unable to do that, he doesn't meet the criteria. If this person isn't the most opulent, if this person isn't the most wealthy, if this person isn't the most beautiful, if this person isn't the most renounced, all of the opulences. He's Bhagavan, possessor in full of the 6 opulences, the 6 topmost opulences. If somebody doesn't have this, they cannot be God. And if it is questionable, we can ask, show me your universal form. If they don't meet this criterion, there's no way that they can be God. That is not what Scripture says. So we can understand, with Arjuna being a great devotee of the Lord, that he is not inclined to see this form of Krishna. It's not attractive for the devotee. There are many devotees, Krishna is showing this form, but they're not attracted. Srila Prabhupada, in fact, didn't even lecture on this 11th chapter, Krishna showing the universal form. Why is this? Well, the pure devotee, he is not attracted to this universal form. The pure devotee is attracted to the loving form, the lotus-eyed form of Krishna, with reddened lips, a conch shell, a bugle. He's a cowherd boy. He wears a yellow dhoti. He's got black hair, lotus eyes. He's beautiful, most attractive personality. His smile is not compared to a million pearls. The pearls, they seem lackluster when you see him smile. The devotee, he is attracted to this form of Krishna. Why? Because this form of Krishna, you can have a personal relationship with. This is the eternal form of Krishna. This Virat Rupa that is being described, this is not an eternal form. This is a temporary form. We see Krishna shows it to Arjuna and then it is gone. This form of Krishna that is on this battlefield, or this form of Krishna that is in Vrindavan with the cowherd boys, or this baby form of Krishna that Mother Yashoda is treating as her son, these are the forms of Krishna that are attractive to the pure devotee, the bhakta. These forms of Krishna are attractive because we can have a direct ras with this form of Krishna. The friend of Krishna, the cowherd boys. These cowherd boys are very elevated. They're not thinking of Krishna as God. They're thinking of Krishna as an equal, as my friend. Mother Yashoda, she is not thinking of Krishna as God. She is thinking, this is my son. Let me serve him. Let me nurture him. He's crying. Let's chant the names of Krishna. Just like what would happen in Lord Chaitanya's childhood. He would throw a fit, and all of the associates, all of the people in the community of Navadvip would know, we need to chant the names of Lord Hari, and this will calm this child down. Or the servant. The servant, he is thinking, let me serve him. He's so wonderful. This is an amazing personality. Let me render some service to him. So these are all glorious relationships with the Lord. Whereas this impersonal conception of this everything you can possibly think of and then some, all in one form, all of your desires, all of this fire coming out of his mouth, unlimited arms, unlimited torsos and garlands, unlimited heads, unlimited forms. It's impossible to wrap your head around. We have a description, but we're not so attracted to it. The impersonalists, they may find this form attractive. This was a very popular form in the 70s. The guitarist Jimi Hendrix, he came out with an album called Axis Bold of Love. And it was a picture of himself as God with this universal form, all of these different heads coming out on this album cover. It was it was a big image in the 1970s. In fact, when I first read Bhagavad-gita, I looked at this picture and I had a poster of this on my wall. And I said, oh, that's where Jimi Hendrix got it from. So it was a popular image. You know, it's a far out image it catches the eye. It's very interesting, but once you get to know and develop some type of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, this form, it's not so attractive. We're much more attractive to the forms we hear about in the Srimad Bhagavatam, or the Krishna book. These forms are much more attractive. We're attracted to the threefold bending form, right? Shama Sundar. This is the real attractive form. Has anyone heard what this threefold bending form represents? If there is a meaning behind it, or why is Krishna in this position? Has anybody heard this before? They talk about in the Chaitanya Charitamrita I was reading, they represent three different tattvas. The Sambandhana, the Adideya, and the Prayojana. These are three different tattvas that this attractive form of Krishna represents. This Sambandhana, it's basically referring to what is our position. What are we supposed to be doing? What is it that the jiva soul is in relation to God, right? Does anyone know this position? The jiva soul's position in relation to the Supreme? Yeah, an eternal servant. Right? And so this is what this Sambandhana form is, or the Sambandhana tattva is relaying. This is what this means. It means that we're an eternal servant of God. Let me, achieve that relationship. This is stressing the relationship between the jiva soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then the next one, this Adideya, is, okay, I understand now that I am an eternal servant. What am I supposed to do? And this is, in this verse that I was reading, it says Adideya Bhakti. It relays that this is the process we're supposed to do. We're supposed to render loving devotional service to Him. This is our position. And the prayojana is the goal. This is the prema. This is the love. Why are we doing what we're doing? So what are we doing? What is the basis of this service that we're rendering to Him? Prayojana. So this is, as I was hearing being explained, this is the significance of this threefold bending form that we see in Shama Sundar. I thought that was pretty interesting. So these tattvas are required, and prema is required for this prayojana tattva. This prema it's not just love, it's not just rendering some service and so I can get something in return as well. Okay, I'll render some service and in turn that I'll be happy. Or I'll render some service and in turn I'll get some knowledge. Or I'll render some service and in turn I'll get to be stress-free or, be able to enjoy a nice prasadam. This is not prema. Prema is unconditional. There's no conditions on this love. So, of course, I do not have this prema, but I have heard the acharyas speak about it, namely Srila Prabhupada and my spiritual master and the different elevated personalities amongst our movement today that have achieved this. And this is just wanting to serve God because I love Him and I want to please Him. I want to make Him happy. Nothing in it for myself. So Arjuna is a pure devotee, and he comes to the platform. Okay, I'm going to surrender everything that I was once, all my preconceptions about what I think right and wrong is. I'm going to surrender, my inclinations to drop everything and go to the forest. And I'm just going to render service unto you, so give me instruction. Arjuna had real love for God. He wasn't wanting anything from this. So Krishna, he says that in this verse that I want to see this form of yours. And later Krishna says, okay, I'll show it to you, but I have to give you the eyes to see it, because right now you have material eyes. You don't have the proper eyes to see this form. So what does that mean for us? Well, in Shastra it is stated, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Shastra is actually giving us proper eyes, if we can apply it to our life. The Shastra Chakshush. We should be able to develop vision of Shastra in life so that we can see properly. This Vasudeva Sarvamiti, it means that Krishna is everything. So if we can see that Krishna is everything, then we have proper eyes. We can actually start developing love. Because there's no love in this material world. Everything is lust. You come across an inclination or that you like and you lust after it. You come across a form that you like and you lust after it. You come across something material that you feel that you want to enjoy, you lust after it. And this is our conditioned state in the material world. We are so conditioned. It's hard to break this pattern of thinking. But if we can see that Krishna is everything, then everywhere we look, we'll be able to see everything is in relation to Krishna. Krishna, he doesn't come alone, right? His entourage, he's always with an entourage. And we know his entourage is non-different than Krishna. Krishna's ornaments, he's always decorated nicely. We know that his ornaments are non-different than Krishna. Similarly, all of the energy, this Balaram Shakti, all of this energy that is used to serve Krishna is non-different than Krishna. So a devotee, he can see there's a nice flower. I can offer that to the Lord. Oh, here's this opulent bedstead. Nice pillow, nice sheets, peacock fan. There was a devotee in Lord Chaitanya's pastime, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he had this vision. When Gadadhar Pandit, he went upon Pundarik Vidyanidhi and he saw him. And it was his first time meeting him, and he saw that this person is seated on a nice bedstead. He had servants fanning him. He had very nice pillows propped up next to him. He appeared to be a man who was accustomed to a lavish lifestyle, a materialist. And Gadadhar Pandit, he was bewildered, and he made a subtle mental offense. He said, this person, he appears to be a materialist. He appears to be enjoying. And then somebody started speaking about Krishna. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi just lost it. All of these nice things around him were just skewed everywhere. He was destroying things. He was rolling around on the ground in ecstasy. He had all these nice ornaments, this nice greased, slicked back hair. It just became a mess. And he started just exhibiting ecstatic symptoms over hearing a description of Lord Krishna. So he could see that all of these material things, they can be used in Krishna's service. And in this way, Gadadhar Pandit, he actually begged Pundarik Vidyanidhi, let me take initiation from you. I created an offense, I made an offense toward you, please. The only way that I can make up for this offense that I've committed is to be your disciple. And they were a good fit because they were both pure devotees of the Lord. So this is somebody that can see that everything in this material world can be used to serve Krishna. Every single thing. So this is something we can relate. If we can understand this, we are starting to develop the proper eyes to see how to actually serve Krishna. It is not that we falsely renounce things. Previously in India, they would think if a sannyasi crosses the ocean, he becomes contaminated. If he enters onto a cargo ship and he goes over to preach, he'll become contaminated. Or getting on a plane, he'll become contaminated. Driving in a car, he'll become contaminated. This is false renunciation. We see Srila Prabhupada, he came over on the Jaladuta. He came over, he wasn't worried about being contaminated because why? Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he told him, you go to the Western world and you preach. So he took that as his heart and soul. He knew when he took sannyas in his older age, he needs to go and do this. So he came over. He wasn't afraid of, I'll be contaminated by going into the Western world. No. He used the Jaladuta, this cargo ship, in Krishna's service. He used many cars, opulent cars, Rolls Royces, in Krishna's service. Devotees, they treat the spiritual master as a direct representative of God. Just as if the Christians treat Christ as God. If you met Christ and you were a very wealthy man, you would want to give him pearls and diamonds and Rolex watches and Rolls Royces, right? If you met God or his direct representative, you would want to shower everything your heart could afford onto this great personality. So we were hearing recently in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita that there was a lady who was questioning this. She was questioning, you come in such a nice car, or you're wearing a Rolex watch, or you have these nice rings. Prabhupada saw it as, I can use this in Krishna's service. And actually, Prabhupada's very merciful. He is accepting this from his disciples who are giving it to him. And he is showering upon them blessings for accepting this. Because he had the real eyes, the real vision. In the Brahma Samhita, it says, eyes with the pulp of love. So this is what we're trying to develop. Srila Prabhupada, he had this, undoubtedly. We don't have this. But we can hear from those who do. We can repeat from those who do. And in this way, try to inspire another jiva soul to take this path up, or give an extra 10% of effort that day, or serve to his capacity. In this way we can inspire each other and repeat what we've heard from those who do have that love of God. So thank you for tolerating and patiently hearing Srimad Bhagavad-gita. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Dr. Fred Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, thank you for the wonderful class, and please accept my humble obeisances. That was straight nectar. So I don't know if this is a foolish question or a good question, but is this Song of God, Bhagavad-gita, Srimad Bhagavad-gita, the eyes that Krishna gave Arjuna. So, because he's talking to Arjuna on the battlefield, and then we're getting what Krishna was saying to Arjuna, and then Srila Prabhupada is translating it and then giving us a purport because we're not intelligent enough to understand. But Arjuna, being his friend, obviously understood and went through this for the fallen, conditioned souls in the age of Kali. So this is the purified ears and eyes. And in order to really get it, we have to surrender that this is actually transcendental vibration.
But yes, I suppose you could say that. This is the science of what it is we're supposed to be doing here. You know, this Bhagavad Gita is perfect. It's the Lord's words. So just as Krishna asks in the end, have you understood this? And Arjuna says yes. We don't have the intelligence, the brain power to understand this in one time hearing it. Imagine if Krishna just spoke this to you, we wouldn't be able to grasp it because this is, Kali Yuga. We're not pure devotees. So fortunately, Srila Prabhupada, he translated it and gave us elaborate purports so we can develop the proper vision, the proper knowledge of what we're supposed to be doing with our life. Why we're here. What is birth? What is death? Who is God? The introduction touches on a lot of these points. It's the introduction to the Gita is very, very nice. So yeah, if it will describe perfectly, what is this Bhagavad Gita, and we're very lucky because we have it in book form. We can go back to it each night and study a different section of it, and in this way fine-tune our vision so we can have a proper understanding, of everything that comes our way. Okay, any other comments or questions this evening? Krishna Shravanam Prabhu.
Mathuranath Prabhu, I like your recitation of the Pandraka pastime. And in the 1970s, there was a modern-day imitation Pandraka who came from India to United States. And I knew some foolish Americans who were hoodwinked by this imposter incarnation of a God. He came in the form of a chubby boy. He was wearing a peacock feather in his hair, imitating Krishna. And he had some mystic powers. He could hypnotize people. And he was misleading many Americans. And he was in Colorado at the same time Prabhupada was at the Denver temple. And Srila Prabhupada challenged this rascal that if he is God, I shall kick him in the head. And if he's God, let him punish me. I'm prepared. But it turned out that this imposter Krishna was arrested by the police and charged with fraud, and he was put into jail. And Prabhupada remarked, just see, this God was arrested and put into jail.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu, for relaying that pastime. Something that came to mind, I think there was something similar that happened during Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time. If I'm not mistaken, there was some kind of imposter, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, being the magistrate, he threw the book at him. He gave him some very severe penalties for, being an imposter as such. Okay, thank you everyone for kindly hearing Srimad Bhagavad-gita as it is. Vanchakalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhuvyevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.